current energy. I'll do some further out, but I just wanted to go through some of the rough energies that I feel that are surrounding you regarding a relationship. We'll do some other ones for March, and might even do Cancer sign after this, but as it goes, we'll just start diving in. So I'm seeing here, sorry guys, I just do this on the off the cuff and just sort of en route. So it is going to be something that is a little less formal and not as structured for the read. But nonetheless, we'll just dive right in. So what I see here is we are starting out with the connection itself. So there is something that indicates this could be regarding a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but it also certainly does indicate that there is some sense of a connection period. The Two of Cups usually indicates that there is something here of a significant relationship. Now, there are some other cards again clarifying, which would be the Nine of Pentacles. So it feels like there's a sense of independence or something that line, or needing or wanting independence or feeling independence with this connection. So there is something there that kind of indicates you're dealing with somebody who feels kind of a breaking away sort of pattern here. And again, this could be a significant connection. It doesn't have to be romance. It can be friendship, or it could be other familial, however that relates to you. So take it only as it resonates. I'm just doing the general synopsis of it first, and then we'll do a summary at the end. So when I see the next card out as, again, Pentacles, this is a very strong independent card. Now, I want to say that when I pulled the card, there were 3 nines in the card here, or in this set of cards, which does indicate that there is sort of a wrap-up cycle that's going on here, because there was a 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups, and a Swords. So what I'm seeing here is whatever this situation is between you, it's nearing some sense of a completion, meaning that there is some kind of emotional processing that's going on. There's a sense of personal growth. There's a sense of independence. There's a sense of, again, still a very important connection, but there is still some here that indicates that there's work and effort still being placed around this connection, but there is still a sense of independence from this connection. So when we get to the Queen of Wands, again, Leo Sagittarius energy, this is somebody who's fairly charismatic, or at least represents as that to this other person. So somebody who's much more outgoing. I would say, again, there's something here on, because there was also a couple of aces in the reading. I know that was the bottom of the deck card here as well. But the Eight of Pentacles is still indicating that there's a lot of growth or effort. And again, there is a sense that there is some beginnings and opportunities coming in here. Now, the major arcana in this deck would be certainly the Empress, and that does follow here. It could be dealing with a mother figure, could also be dealing with levels of abundance or emotion or nurturing and caring, that kind of thing. But there is definitely personal development as a takeaway in this period. And may not resonate specifically for today. It may be a little further out, but nonetheless, the Empress is still an indicator that there is, some sense of personal development and emotional maturity that's taking place. So despite that, there is still a lot going on of inner worries. Now, the Nine of Cups does tell me that, certainly it is in a more, there is some success and some going forward with that connection, meaning this person does feel a bond to you. And it does seem as though they see the relationship as meaningful. This is something where there is mutual care, even if it's not always perfectly expressed. But the connection does matter to this individual. So there is, again, some sense of independence. There is a level of wanting to stand on their own, feeling more self-reliant, focus more on their own personal stability or situation or finances. But it definitely feels like this is trying to figure somebody trying to figure themselves out and their own identity, and just wanting to feel like their own person. Now, we're also in that stage of, again, Nine of Cups. There's some kind of wish fulfillment that's coming through here. So I feel like you're going to see something moving in a more positive direction that would be in favor of something that you've wanted. So whatever you're desiring, there is an element of that showing up. It is more of a clarifier, so it could be a little further out. But again, you're all on different timelines. You're not all making decisions on a Monday. Everything's not going to happen on a Tuesday. So just be mindful of that. So, that stretch of time may vary for a few of you here, as I say, but either way, the energy is still that, this person does feel that there is a strong connection, especially when I see the cards out of the Queen of Wands. So that is still indicative of a powerful, involved, vibrant kind of energy. And sometimes this person may feel like you're a lot to handle, may have some difficulty in dealing with all of that energy. Now, this is still a respectful kind of energy. This person sees you as fairly strong and very able to sort of maintain your composure in situations, or at least have a sense of yourself. So there is something here about, again, with the Empress as, again, archetype mother, maternal, that kind of thing, but some kind of emotional foundation, family bond, growth. Either way, there's something here that is the center of the whole spread. So whatever this is for you, and again, however it resonates, there's still some kind of peace that's coming through here, especially with the Nine of Cups. So there is a sense of emotionally wanting that peace, but also it is going to be achievable in a short window of time here, and to feel good about life again and satisfaction. So it's more about emotional comfort and not conflict. So things are kind of moving into that realm, even though I still see the Nine of Swords here. But again, there's 3 nines, and we also have the Eight of Pentacles. So things are still being worked on. Hi, Brooklyn. But either way, like I said, I feel like the struggle here is more of an internal struggle for this person. And it does still feel like there's, the worry, the overthinking, the over anxiety, and there's still, mental pressure that's going on. But again, an internal struggle. Oh, my day's all right. I don't know. It was actually pretty nice out today. I just came to the park because that's what I do. I drive around and I take pictures of things that I just, inspire me. And usually it's the skies. But really love that, because when it starts to get nice out and it's not snowing, I feel a lot more hopeful. And yeah, it's nice to kind of know that spring is around the corner. How's your day going, Brooklyn? But anyway, going back here, I feel like there is still something tangible to be worked on. Like I say, Eight of Pentacles. Ah, good to hear. I see the hearts. Thanks, Brooklyn. But yeah, either way, Eight of Pentacles, I mean, there's still something that's being worked on here. This is fixing one's life step by step. This is, putting in the work, developing the skills, implementing some kind of a routine. What the reality is. Oh, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Sorry, I was just responding to Brooklyn. But yeah, what I see here is, somebody's just basically saying, let me just work on my life. That's what I'm doing. And so, of course, there's a lot of internal energy that goes on with that. So now this could be dealing with a younger person. The sun does represent that, but it's also more of an optimistic card of positivity. So underneath this is beautiful. This is that energy. Oh, totally. Yeah, for sure, Brooklyn. Yeah, I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. But yeah, there is something here that definitely feels as though this energy is more warmth. There's a happier relationship, where things will be a lot more simplistic and not anxiety provoking. There won't be the tension I feel going forward. Now, the fact that I see the Ace of Wands here, and it is in a reverse position. This is the downside. So this is where this person is still struggling. This is that indicator of low motivation at times. There's kind of a sense of emotional burnout, especially with that Nine of Swords in there. Again, you're at several nines here. So it's almost like there's one more nine and then everything starts to move forward. But for sure, this is, at times I feel this person feels blocked emotionally, unsure of their direction, some kind of, like I say, emotional burnout. But knowing that you're coming up to the bottom deck card, which was the Ace of Pentacles, this is, oh, you too, have a nice day. Thanks for stopping in. But for sure, on this basis, this is the Ace of Pentacles talking about, building independence. This is with the Nine of Pentacles and also the Ace of Pentacles. It's like the beginning of that structure towards stability. So I feel like the work and practical life is really the focus of this person. It does feel like there's emotional moments of, okay, I'm okay, everything is fine. But then again, the focus is more on themselves and their future path. And so the conflict can be, some drama periodic, but it's sort of a mixed bag is what I see there. Again, this is someone who wants to be seen as self-sufficient and mature, and there is a lot of potential because of the Sun card there. And of course, the inner anxiety is the negative. So not so much negative, because sometimes you really need to do that probing. You can't get to the other side or work through problems with complete positivity, but your mindset does need to be moving in a unlocked way, meaning if you're too negative, you can block yourself. But if you're also too positive, you can, oversee solutions to things. So outwardly, this person may be saying, I look fine, but I worry more than people sort of realize, that kind of thing. So they have this pressure to present well and to have it all together. So again, the negatives that they structure, or that they have some difficulty with, would certainly be occasional lack of motivation and, pressure to have it all together. So overall, though, because the really good cards out here, like I said, we had the Sun, we had the Empress, and we had the Nine of Cups. All of those cards really speak to, you know, very, and the Sun and with the Empress, just a great combination. This person feels very connected to you, but they know you also care very deeply. So this is a good energy. So they want peace. And they do pull back at times, again, because I feel like they're working more so on their own inner world. But the highlights here is that there is a genuine emotional bond. So there is love and warmth towards you underneath, but it's sort of a growing maturity, because that's what the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, you know, the Eight of Pentacles, and again, it goes 8 to 9. So it does indicate that there is some kind of growth toward this stage. So it's not, and hi there, David. Advice and guidance on your situation. Okay, yeah, I will check that one out just as soon as I wrap this one up here. Now, I also want to say the bottom of the deck was the High Priestess in reverse. So there is sort of an indication there too that possibly this person has not been using some, you know, their internal, you know, the guidance system. Like they're not really falling on their levels of intuitiveness while they're going through this internal stress period, which can also emotionally drain someone a little faster, because there's a tendency to withdraw and try to figure things out. But then there's also a narrow focus, like an over focus in one particular area. And it's like hyper independence, hyper, you know, over focus. And so that can be where, you know, they're kind of quietly dealing with personal worries, but they still want their life to feel stable and successful. So there is something here about, you know, the bond and all of that is still moving in a positive direction, but they're nearing a personal growth chapter. And I feel like that level of, they're so close to it, because it's at a 9 on 3 different levels. So again, that was 9 of Swords, 9 of Cups, and it wasn't the 9 of Wands. What was the other one? Queen of Wands, King of Pentacles. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where the other one was here. Okay, actually, I guess it was the 2 9s there. But either way, I mean, they're working through the mental pressure, and that's going to be almost resolved here before they move into the next stage of growth. Like I said, 9 of Cups, there is something here that does indicate that there is going to be some oh yeah, 9 of Pentacles, that's what it was. So there is the 3 9s. So finances for them are going to start to, and independence is going to start, you know, being a lot more close at hand, because it has moved from an 8 to a 9. So there is something that they're working through on that basis. So there is something here that supports them in around that level of independence. But I want to also just make mention, you know, that because there's so much growth here in inner work, just know that this bond is going through like a chapter phase. Like I said, it's kind of moving to the next chapter. So you do have one more sort of phase, because right now we've already dealt with the 9 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Swords. So 9 of Wands is the actual action, the momentum, where things start to move forward with this individual. And that's the part that's still kind of in reserve. I want to say with the High Priestess in reverse, that one, as I said, is more at the bottom of the deck, but it is still an overtone nonetheless. But again, I just feel like they're, because normally it would be intuition and falling on inner, you know, guidance and so on. But I feel right now, it feels like there's a little bit of blocked intuition. There is a confusion around their inner feelings and not listening to that inner guidance. So again, there's something here about difficulty trusting and secrecy, being uncomfortable, that kind of thing. So this could be that the individual is unsure of their own emotions. It could also be avoiding deeper reflection, or not fully or really aware of how they actually feel about something. So they're putting up blocks and stymieing their own growth on some level. So I do see growth, but again, these were more the clarifier cards, but it's struggling sometimes just to put things into words. So some thoughts I feel that they're keeping to themselves. But like I said, the main cards out was the bottom of the deck. So there is sort of an offer or sense of a new beginning here, even though they're not really ready to take action yet. But the main cards out again were the Sun card, and because those are the big major arcana, and the 2 of Cups. So definitely the significant bond, really focusing on their financial world. Empress also being of significance. So like I said, I do feel like there is something here that's going to come through that'll be more positive for you going forward. But right now, I just feel like they don't quite know how to trust the process internally, even though they are working through some things. They may not always understand you, but he may also, or she may also not understand themselves. So it could be something along that line as well. So the communication may still be a little bit foggy with this card. But again, there's still that sense of withdrawal instead of talking things out. So it's like a bit of a cool distance, but it's not, it's more because I feel like there's a sense of private energy here. But again, it's because of there's inner worry and low emotional energy, you know, because that's the downside of Nine of Swords. It's a burnout energy. So intuition is not being fully trusted. And again, that's kind of misunderstanding or unspoken expectations. But either way, it's kind of emotional avoidance in that level or on that level. So I feel like they kind of need gentle space rather than pressure, because the truths will emerge slowly, not through confrontation. Like it'll be something along the lines of the clarity has to come through them over time. So just to give things some patience rather than pushing for any emotional answers at this time. But that's the takeaway. And I feel it's just because things are a little bit muddled. And once they work through the next stage of emotions, which are all these clarifiers, you're going to start to see some significant changes. Again, the actions are taking place just on a very quiet level. Sorry guys, I'm in a different vehicle right now, so I'm gonna have to try to create my own version of light. Let's hope that kind of creates something of, sorry, I'm just gonna try to work this out so it's a little bit more light in the situation for me to do the next set of cards here. Sorry guys, it has turned darker out here than I expected. Okay, jumping right in. Oh, almost, sorry. My little light source. Okay, so we're going to answer that question for David, I believe it was. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of restructuring things. Okay, David. Let's just do... I'm just going to pull aside some of the cards again here. All right, so these ones are... One of my closest friends gave this to me, and I really appreciate this. This is actually the Sacred Witch Tarot. You know, whether you believe in the witch thing or not, or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just that they're really unique cards. Love it. Anyway, so this is for David. And David, what is it that you are asking? So I'm just looking through to see if I can see your question down there. Okay, just advice and guidance. All right, what is, let's see here. So this is a new question for David, unrelated to our previous read. What is the advice and guidance that David needs at this time regarding his current situation? Okay, the card that popped out is the Hierophant. So this is dealing with, can be Taurus energy, can also be a structure, you know, going to a source of spirituality or someone that is in a higher position of authority. Let's see what else. We'll do the clarifiers as well. What is it that's coming through? It can also be a deep connection of some sort that is coming through here. What's the clarifier for the Hierophant and the best advice for David? Four of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. Four of Wands. King of Swords. King of Pentacles. Seven of Swords. Last card. Eight of Swords. Bottom of deck, Temperance. Okay, well, it does feel more hopeful. And summary. Okay, so first off, as I mentioned, there is a sense that this is dealing with could be dealing with a Taurus energy, could also, but anyway, I'm just going to correlate some of the other cards here because right off the bat, what I feel is that there is a sense of this being a family matter or something around your foundation for sure. There is a sense of family through here. There is also a sense of there being a significant foundation affected anyway, like I said, because there's something here with the Four of Wands. There's something here with give and take being the issue. There is definitely something of withdrawn energy. Somebody's pulling back. Somebody's not really connecting there. So what I would say is overall, there's the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Wands. These are cards of structure, stability, foundation. So is the Hierophant. So to me, this kind of speaks to you trying to rebalance or you're hoping for the more stability, like hoping for more reciprocity or balance in a situation. And it's almost like there's either a caution energy. There's also a mental restriction, can be self-sabotaging. When we saw that Eight of Swords at the end here. So I'm trying to stay out of the way of the light there. But either way, let's just bring a little bit. I'm going to see if I can create more of a light situation here. So it's a little clearer. But let's see if that will work. Okay, so either way, Hierophant right off the bat is our core energy. So I feel being guided to return to some sense of structure. So it does feel like overall, again, this is more of a following lid system. Like I said, I feel like you need to seek some wise counsel, get some advice, things by the book, ground yourself in tradition, ethics, routine, whatever that is for you. The advice here is not to act impulsively for sure, because there's so many cards of stability structure coming out here. It does point to mentors or institutions or contracts, professional guidance, anything that's more of an established path, rather than any kind of risky shortcut situation. The Four of Pentacles does still speak to practical security and focus. You also had the King of Pentacles here. That was a little further back. So King of Swords could be dealing with a legal situation here as well for some, or Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. There's someone here I feel that has something to do with money or has more money or represents money to you in some way. But this is still about building material stability and thinking more long term. I would say protect your finance, the energy, don't overspend, be cautious. The Six of Pentacles, again, there's sort of an exchange or a giving and a receiving sort of energy and making balanced decisions. So you're not overgiving, you're not overtaking. It does speak to me as evaluating things as to what's truly balancing you out. And I don't feel like you're going to, put your home at risk, put your security at risk. You're trying to keep a peaceful environment and do things with in safe maneuvers. But I also feel there's something here about celebrating stability. So it's almost like there could be something here that's coming in. It's very important. But I still feel like you're being logical, detached, strategic, or someone else's clear-headed energy either way. And you're making decisions, with your mind, your intellect, that kind of thing, not pressured, not guilt. The downside of the energy, like I said, is still, and of course that's your give and take card, Four of Wands, still home front, stability, family, but there's something here about being transparent and careful. Don't try to escape your problems, face them properly. Again, don't cut corners, watch for any deception around you, even self-deception. Eight of Swords energy is there as well. And again, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, somebody could be dealing with a legal entity or something, or, lawyer, or somebody who's just very logical minded in the way that they operate. And somebody else here kind of presents as having the money or the resource. So there is something of a caution energy around that, especially with the Eight of Swords. But it's almost like it's more you kind of blocking your own movement forward. And I feel like as long as you take safe steps, you will be fine in regards to energy. Temperance is definitely a protection energy. It's doing things in a moderate, patient way. Don't rush. Again, blend your logic with calm emotion, that kind of thing, because it's all steady, measured moves, nothing dramatic. Messages, like I said, that are coming through here, especially with the Hierophant energy out, is still an energy of strong potential for stability. Good practical judgment is there. You have support from authority or mentors. And I feel like you have an ability to create solid foundations, and that balance can be restored if that was a question. Certainly, there is long term success here, and I definitely feel like it's very grounded energy. But the challenges are fear and overthinking with the Eight of Swords, and there is that tension to avoid things with that Seven of Swords. Secretive energy as well, holding on too tightly out of fear, anxiety, mental restriction, all of that. And it still feels like that's more internal, no direct blockages or obstacles. I feel like you just need to step back and, just do things in a fair, practical way. Because again, there's so much energy around dealing with the situation. Like it feels like it's going in your favor if that's something you were worried about, but it just feels, whatever the monetary situation is, it feels like it'll be a fair, balanced exchange. And there's something here around the home front, but there is some kind of celebratory energy here. And again, there is still a cautious energy though, but I do feel like there's a level of balance that's going to sustain, and it is, very, could be dealing with, like I say, a lot of corporate entities or something along that line. Just make sure, don't let your fears overtake or trap you in any way. Keep yourself grounded, walks in natures, whatever it is, just whatever it is that grounds you. But just be patient, because you need to do things the correct way and get the right guidance in this situation. So think more long term, not short term, especially with the number of cards that I see here. These are all long term, bigger entity cards, very major arcana with the Temperance as well as the Hierophant. So it feels like it's a commitment or something that's, quite sustained. Like it's something that you've been involved with for some time. And yeah, oh, you feel stuck. Well, I feel like what's going to end up happening is things are going to start to change. Now, what I see here is, like I said, it does feel stuck energy because of the Eight of Swords, but I feel like there's movement. You just have to be cautious about it. And like I said, there's still balance and everything. This could also represent it as a job situation or something coming through, but it does feel like more guidance to me, that you're needing extra guidance, because there's a real pulled back energy with the Four of Pentacles that's not moving forward. But there is going to be a fair exchange. So I feel like somebody's either going to help you, somebody's coming in to assist or something along that line. But either way, there is a celebratory energy with the Four of Wands, and it feels like it's around your finances and all of that. But either way, the message, from this spread is slow, honest, true progress is what you'll best gain from the situation. This isn't going to be, instant success. This is something that's very slow, but look at each step each time. There's no real obstacles here. I mean, I would say if there was an obstacle that you overcome, it would certainly be yourself and your own mindset, because the Eight of Swords is not an obstacle. It's not an external obstacle. It's you. But like I said, I still feel like there's a sense of aid or help or other people in this picture. Could be three or at least two for sure. But I just a real pulled back energy with the Four of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Eight of Swords. That would be your stuck energy, self-sabotage. But again, it's a protected energy, so you're okay to make a decision on what your next step is. So I would still say, I guess what I would say here is, like, your next step really should be a step. It doesn't have to be a big step, because this is slow progress. I just find that, this is something all around your finances, like I said, and it does feel like it's practical energy. Sorry, just reading your question. You had a work problem. What's going to happen about it? Well, the work problem feels like it's going to work itself out. That's what I see here. It feels like there's a fair situation, like something balances out in some way, because this is reciprocity, this is balancing out in a fair way. And especially with the Four of Wands, it's all stability. Temperance, all stability. King of Swords is maybe where the conflict is with the finances. But I still feel like it gets worked out in a positive way. The Seven of Swords, the only one that I feel like next to the Eight of Swords, and that's a progression. So it's almost like there was secrecy or something underhanded or something that went on there. But I still feel like you're protected in some way. This isn't going to move in a way that's sort of out of your control. You can still make changes here in this situation, but it's again, it's a practical, grounded action plan. And I just feel like you need to talk to somebody who's qualified, get some more advice, and then follow an established system, do the correct way to resolve whatever this is here. But I do feel like you're not going to have to figure everything out alone, because I feel like there's going to be a review of the situation, and then there's going to be a restructuring of the situation, and it'll stabilize things. So again, I won't jump into anything high risk. It's all about securing your base, your foundation, and working through the channels. So again, choose a direction, communicate honestly, set firm boundaries, but be rational rather than emotional about the situation. So that's what I would say here. Just you will work out the situation. The Seven of Swords, like I said, next to the 8, is a warning to avoid procrastinating or shortcuts or staying silent out of fear. You have to be, I think, on the next step, transparent about how you move forward. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of advice. Oh, sorry, reading your question there. Then love life went down the pan as well. Well, even with that though, because when I sort of look, I didn't specifically ask for love on that one, but it was more general. But I see a lot of finance cards here, but I still feel like there's something there that is, I'll maybe ask one more part to that, but I still feel like there could be some level of deception that was going on with that too, but something's still very positive in this read. So, I mean, whatever the situation was, it feels like that can self-correct. Okay, let's ask on that basis. 1 second here. Just got to find my other cards. Okay, so what about David's love life? What about David's love life? What's going on there? What is the other person's feelings toward David? Is there going to be a resolve? Okay, well, there was some cards that fell out, but 3 of Pentacles. The cards that fell out: Ace of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, Page of Wands. Clarifying the 3 of Pentacles. Two of Cups. 8 of Cups. Why the 8 of Cups? High Priestess. Ace of Cups. Bottom of deck, 3 of Swords. Okay, summary of all of that. So what I see here, definitely in regards to your love situation, it's been a heartbreak. There has been conflict for sure. Now, the cards that kind of fell out was the Page of Wands, 5 Pentacles, and Ace of Swords. Harsh words, not feeling good enough, level of devalued. But there is still some positive energy, and I feel like communication coming through here as well from this person, or something's going to move forward in a positive way. Now, it did start out with the 3 of Pentacles. So what I want to say there is that this to me is very positive, especially in terms of finances. So I feel like there's something here with the 2-3 kind of speaks to, connection, difficulty, but some kind of emotional distance. There is a potential for new beginning. I don't feel like this is over for you yet. There is still a sense of, effort, trying to make things, move forward, figure out how to function together, and it just feels like there has to be some level of honest communication, or, something of that first. But there is a sense that there is some kind of truth coming out, and then there'll be clearer communication, but it might be a very blunt discussion, thing that's, it's kind of a harsher energy to start out with, but, it feels like, again, still emotional distance or feeling rejection, insecurity, a sense of being on the outside of things. That's what the 5 of Pentacles was. Which does sort of lend itself to uncertainty, which means that you may be feeling some kind of emotional coldness in some way, but that Page of Wands energy still tells me this other person has, despite that heaviness, this other person still has curiosity or some kind of attraction. There's still a desire for them to reach out to you, so I don't feel like things are all lost yet. It's just unstable. The connection's not dead. So when we get to the 3 of Pentacles, and like I said, the next card out after that was, was the Two of Cups. So again, there is still something here. It's a real connection or a mutual affection, emotional bond. There's chemistry, all of that. So the feelings do exist here, but this person is pulling back. And I feel like because, there is distance with that Eight of Cups, it does tell me that it's not that they don't care. It's just they're unsure. They need some space. They're unsure about to stay or go. So there is a sense of needing space. Also, why the Eight of Cups, this kind of speaks to there being inner intuition involved that they're going to have to rely on. It feels like they're keeping their feelings private. They may be expressing everything to you right now because they have some sense of trying to work through the situation. I feel like they want an emotional renewal with you, especially when the Ace of Cups shows. And that doesn't mean that that they don't care. It feels like they're trying to protect their heart at this time and they have mixed feelings. So because of that mixed feelings, that potential new beginning is going to be based on what kind of intuitive hits they get in this next short while and how long it takes them to process things. But even still, there is going to be some kind of a conversation coming through here very shortly, especially with two aces and a page. So it is a real bond, like I said, but there is going to have to be an honest talk that's coming through. And it feels like after this difficult situation with the Eight of Cups and that Five of Pentacles. So again, the bottom of the deck was a Three of Swords. So there's still hurt, there's still disappointment and pain, and they haven't fully healed yet to take that next step. So, sorry, I'm just reading. It's been a roller coaster for you. I feel like things are going to start to change on that basis for you, though, David. It's like I said, because there's still, a potential for a fresh start, even though there's distance right now. And I feel like for sure the downsides are emotional insecurity and abandonment, but I feel like it's just unspoken feelings with the High Priestess. So when the other person gets a chance to process, while they're processing, you take your next safe, secure steps that work for you, and then the rest of the connection will just fall into place. Right now it's strained and it's uncertain, but it feels like that connection, they're just stepping back. That's all they're doing. They haven't written it off. They're just stepping, but I still feel like there is going to be a conversation sometime, sooner rather than later. But I still feel like once that truth comes out or that communication, goes forward, then it's like that's when the next chapter is discussed, whether it's truthful, conversation about how to heal what's gone on. But either way, it's, both of you, I feel, choosing to rebuild instead of withdraw. So bottom line, I just say, I would say that this person does want to move forward with you, but you're going to have to give it, at least maybe 2 or even 3 months before that likely outcome. It just feels like they need some space to process things first and really figure out what it is that they want. And again, you don't have to wait for something. I mean, you can still take on this next steps that you need to move forward. And then, when you're ready, open the door or don't. Anyway, got to close down. My phone's about to cut out, but keep moving forward, guys. Never give up. How good you are, it's how good you want to be. And until the next read, have a great day.